Hello, friends. I saw someone in a chat mention a month or so ago that the bricks that had been delivered to cities were somewhat ironic, being that the name of the actor who was killed was George Floyd. And so that got me to thinking a little bit. And I don't really have any conclusion. Certainly more questions than answers are what these things usually bring about. But there does seem to be some bizarre connection to Pink Floyd and all of this. So what we have here on the top left is a current photo of a story about the COVID-19 coronavirus situation, which I've noticed in what little I see of news reports, that it's always an empty hospital, things cordoned off around a empty entrance or exit, and just very strange that how much they show you in something like this, that it's almost as if they are pushing us to be awake and to fight back. Perhaps that's exactly what they're doing. It's not like that. Maybe that's exactly what they're doing. So I got to thinking about the Momentary Lapse of Reason album. On the bottom two squares, which was 1987, the 13th studio album by Pink Floyd, first one without Roger Waters. And I have a page here pulled up of search for him on Google. The tour is postponed until next year. How to get to him on Twitter. And then you can watch him perform socially distanced. The Wall. You can also see him with Lucius sing John Prine's Hello in there. And then he also shared Vera Bring the Boys Back Home, another quarantine video. And as I've said before, isn't it just amazing, for lack of a better word, how every one of these people in entertainment, no matter whether they're a rock star or actor or talk show host, all just, joined right into this thing without any question, without any rebuttal, without any debate. They all just lined up like the bitches that they are and went along with their master's voice. So, and then I forgot to tell you, of course, the top top right photo is from the London 2012 Olympics opening ceremony, which ended up with the beds there being all empty as well. Another parallel jumped out at me in this from Momentary Lapse of Reason, and I will get to that as soon as I find it again. The point of this is not to go into any sort of big critique or anything about the Momentary Lapse of Reason. However, I don't know if I was even previously, I guess I was somewhat aware that Waters wasn't with them on that one, but the song, those songs Learning to Fly, On the Turning Away, One Slip, and Dogs of War were all pretty big rock hits, pretty much staples in the 90s of rock radio. So the other point that I saw about this is that it was mainly recorded on David Gilmour's, is it yacht? Is it ship? And the other thing is that it was, it's called mainly a David Gilmour solo album, even though the other remaining Pink Floyd members were on it. But I don't really agree with the part of it not sounding like a Pink Floyd album. It's just it wasn't it was not a concept album like so many of them. Momentary Lapse of Reason was recorded in several studios, mainly Gilmour's Houseboat studio, Astoria, and it was moored on the, is it Thames? Working there was just magical, so inspirational. Kids sculling down the river, geese flying by. During sessions held between November 1986 and February 1987, Gilmour's band worked on new material, which in a change from previous Pink Floyd albums was recorded with a 24-track analog machine and overdubbed onto a 32-track Mitsubishi digital recorder. This trend of using new technologies continued with the use of MIDI synchronization, aided by an Apple Macintosh computer. Ezrin suggested incorporating rap, an idea dismissed by Gilmour. Okay, well, anyway, the point that I was getting to there was the fact that it was recorded on a houseboat. And you may remember at the beginning of this coronavirus stuff, there was they said there was one ship in, I wasn't going for the fact that ships were screwed up because people on them supposedly had it. I was looking for the, but that's another aspect of ships and what not to do with that. Oh, okay. Here it is. There was the Comfort Hospital ship supposed to aid New York. but it only had 20 patients. I'm getting the prompt for, well, try to just go ahead and continue with Google to read part of that. And now it took me to the fact that I have an account, but it didn't. Okay, now maybe I can get to continue with this. It's a joke, said a hospital executive whose facilities are packed with coronavirus patients. Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, for Christ's sakes. And I clicked on something else and it's brought me to another thing about subscribing I can't get out of, so I'll try the back button again. The Navy hospital ship Comfort has been docked at Pier 90 in Manhattan since its arrival on Monday. But of course, this story is from back in January, February, March, April. So I doubt it's still there. The Navy hospital ship USNS Comfort, when it chugged into New York Harbor, throngs of people momentarily, forgetting the strictures of social distancing, crammed together along Manhattan's west side to catch a glimpse. On Thursday, though, the huge white vessel, which officials had promised would bring succor to a city on the brink, sat mostly empty, infuriating executives at local hospitals. The ship's 1,000 beds are largely unused. Its 1,200-member crew, mostly idle. Only 20 patients had been transferred to the ship, officials said, even as New York hospitals struggled to find space for the thousands infected with the coronavirus. Another Navy hospital ship, USNS Mercy, docked in Los Angeles. Yes, that was what I was trying to look for, was those two ships, one being Mercy and the other being Comfort. And then, of course, as I said, most of Momentary Lapse of Reason was recorded on a houseboat. And, of course, again, with Momentary Lapse of Reason, having the empty hospital beds, it kind of makes you go, And here's a word that stuck out to me as well. Gilmour later said both Nick and Rick were catatonic in terms of their playing ability at the beginning. Neither of them played on this at all, really. In my view, they'd been destroyed by Roger. Catatonic is a word that makes me think of the general public and their lack, those who are having a lack of outrage to all of this. Learning to fly was inspired by Gilmour's flying lessons, which occasionally conflicted with the studio duties. The track also contains a recording of Mason's voice during takeoff. The band experimented with audio samples, and Ezrin recorded the sound of Gilmour's boatman rowing across the Thames. Aiden's presence at the session was made vital when Astoria began to lift in response to the rapidly rising river, which was pushing the boat against the pier on which it was moored. The Dogs of War is a song about physical and political mercenaries. According to Gilmour, its creation came through a mishap in the studio when a sampling machine began playing a sample of laughter, which Gilmour thought sounded like a dog's bark. So let's see what Astoria means. I guess it's not so much a meaning as it is a place. Well, let me just put the word definition beside it and see. Yeah, it's a noun, a port in Northwest Oregon near the mouth of the Columbia River. Columbia is rife with occulted stuff, founded as a fur trading post in 1811 by John Jacob Astor. Okay, here's exactly what it means. It's like a hawk. The name Astoria means like a hawk and is of English origin. Astoria is a name that's been used primarily by parents who are considering baby names for girls, variations of the name Astoria and Asteria. Astoria. So, point being, empty hospital beds for coronavirus, empty hospital beds at the beginning of the London 2012 Olympics, and empty hospital beds on a beach on the Pink Floyd album Momentary Lapse of Reason in 1987. Any further insights or comments that you could offer to this would be greatly appreciated. And thank you for joining.